What's up, guys? Seth here with Activated Performance, and to answer the question in the title, if you're a powerlifter, you do not need a hypertrophy phase. And I would even go as far as to say that if you're a powerlifter and you dedicate 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks to hypertrophy, you are probably, or actually, you're going to definitely be wasting your time. And that is because putting on tissue, especially if you've been training for a while, takes a lot of time and takes a lot of effort. And the amount of tissue that you're going to be able to put on in that 12, 16 week phase isn't really going to be all that measurable, especially when you compare it to what you're already going to be doing as a powerlifter in your training already. It's not like magically switching towards bodybuilding exercise selection, bodybuilding rep ranges is going to put on any more meaningful muscle than just training like a powerlifter and doing your accessory work with intent. And the biggest reason you're going to be wasting time if you switch to a hypertrophy block, especially if you switch away from squat, bench, deadlift, even if you just switch to running your squat, bench, and deadlift at higher reps, is we're going to be moving ourselves away from the goalpost of being able to display strength on the platform. Because strength is specific to the loading, and our ability to display strength is specific to the loads that we are training with. So if we don't touch a realistic weight on a squat, bench, or deadlift for 3-4 months, when it comes time to put a meaningful load on the bar again, we are going to feel like a baby deer. We're going to be wobbly. We're going to feel super weak. And it's not necessarily because we are weak. It's just because we aren't prepared to put those loads on our backs and in our hands. And it will take time to come back for that. And it will take time for the work that we did to transfer. So if we just skip the phase entirely, if we skip the idea of phasic training and just put some intent and effort into our accessories, we're going to get the hypertrophy benefit, and we won't need to go through that reacclimation phase to get back used to moving real weights that we can lift on the platform. And it's like we can still accomplish everything that we would during a hypertrophy phase just by pushing on our accessories harder. And it might not even be pushing harder, but it's just you need to push hard enough on your accessories. You need to make sure that you're not going through the motions. You need to make sure that you're actually working on them in order to get that contractile tissue stimulus. And it's like, yes, bodybuilders do train the way that they do because it works well for generating that contractile tissue growth stimulus. But again, we can just train like a bodybuilder after we're done our main work as a powerlifter. And that's how I recommend most lifters run their accessories. We get down with our main squat, and then we train accessories with the intent of growing what we need to grow and improving what we need to improve to build our squat. We don't need 12 weeks to build up a weak point. We can just work on building our weak point after we're done with our main squat work. And it's like, guys, if you aren't getting jacked right now, don't look at just switching everything. Just look at where your intent is. Look at what you're doing. Look at where your effort is, and make sure that you're putting enough effort into the accessories, or make sure that you're actually doing accessories, not just skipping them or even just half-assing them, because half-assing them isn't going to be enough to do anything for you. And even before we look at how we're training and how we're running our accessories, we need to look at diet, because diet is absolutely going to be the biggest limiting factor once we're already training in how much tissue we can put on. And that's simply because putting on tissue requires material, it requires energy, and with our diet, the protein is going to be the material to build the tissue, the carbohydrates, the fats, that's going to provide the energy so that the tissue can actually be built. And it's like, to further this point, just like go to any local commercial gym and you're going to see a ton of dudes who look like they're running gear, look like they're running drugs, probably. There are a ton of dudes on shit in your local gym. Just go look around. If you aren't an idiot, you can see who it is. And they don't look like bodybuilders, but they are training like bodybuilders. They are running drugs. So why don't they look like bodybuilders? It's entirely because none of those dudes are pushing their diet at all. None of them are eating enough to grow. None of them are eating enough to show tissue. It's just they're training, they're taking drugs, and they look okay, but it's like they don't look like a bodybuilder, and that's simply because of where their food intake is. So if we're a powerlifter and we want to get jackeder, what do we need to do? Put intent and effort into your accessories. Make sure that you're actually doing stuff to generate that hypertrophy stimulus with your regular powerlifting training. Then make sure that when you get home, you are eating enough and eating well enough to generate that growth and to allow that growth to happen. So guys, you do not need a hypertrophy phase if you're a powerlifter. Running a hypertrophy phase will set you back compared to just training accessories like you mean it in conjunction with your strength work. So guys, work hard on accessories, eat well, get jackeder, put on some tissue. Thank you for watching. Hopefully you got something out of that. And check me out on Instagram at Dr. Seth Albersworth. And check out activatedperformance.net for the store. Link below to book appointments. Thank you for watching.